And we're actually gonna switch over to our Heroes of the Dorm game here in a second.
Oh wow, we have our teams. Nice. Very,
Yeah.
very happy with that.
FSU versus Texas Tech.
Texas Tech.
Texas Tech. Pretty exciting.
Oh my. So excited.
Yeah. All the teams are showing up, so I've switched over on stream to the draft link.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Sweet. And we saw a little bit of FSU last week between leg spikes.
Between leg spikes, yeah.
Between my leg spikes. Oh gosh, I'm so glad I got that fixed. That was painful to bear, indeed.
It's
And the
okay.
first map is going to be Blackheart's Bay.
And this map was selected by Blizzard for this round of the tournament, from what I understand.
Hmm.
But the loser of this first game in the best of three gets to get map pick or first pick, I think. So I like that we're starting with Blackheart's Bay. I really don't
I
like
do
this
too.
map. Like I really don't like this
No, I'm
map,
not
but
a
I
huge fan either, but it can mix things up a little bit. The problem with my problem with it is that I feel like you can, if you get a lead, you can be too passive and just win by PvE.
yeah, and I like this ban on Zagara from FSU. The vision is very helpful on this map.
Oh, just insanely helpful on this map.
Yeah, I remember a game between Tempo Storm and Cloud9 on this map where the Zagara vision allowed Tempo to just block out turn-ins, and it's really good to see FSU learning that same lesson
Yep.
because you want to be able to turn in coins when you have them so you don't lose them, but sometimes if you're behind on XP that's not possible. And we are going to finally get our first pick by Texas Tech, which is Rhaegar.
Not a huge surprise there. They banned out Li Ming, uh, forcing either the Zagara really or the Rhaegar pick because honestly, let's just face it, they're both very high priority, high value picks, especially the Zagara on this map. So FSU is forced to ban Zagara and got Rhaegar.
And FSU goes into a Diablo very early. I think we saw Diablo last week also.
Yeah,
Uh, so Diablo Rainer as their first two picks.
interesting.
Very interesting.
But I mean, Diablo's a very very capable tank. He's very good right now, especially with the right comp. Do you think we'll see maybe a Tyrande, or do you think they'll go with something else?
I could definitely see a Tyrande, and at this point, Texas Tech is going to get their two picks. So if they sniff that out, they will get a chance to ban it.
Yeah,
Likely not going to be picked up by Texas Tech. So if they suspect a Tyrande, Texas Tech can ban. I'm not sure if we'll actually see them take it, but it's definitely a possibility.
yeah,
And then we get a Muradin pick from Texas Tech. I like it.
yeah. I think Murden's a great counter to Diablo. Plus, he's just an all-around good tank. He's got great positioning. With the Rainer, he can actually go ahead and take his attack speed slow talent, especially if FSU tries to build into some more auto attackers. Just a great tank all around. And Lunara, man, we're starting to see a lot of Lunara today already, aren't we? In the
Yeah.
regionals, both games so far, Lunara. So teams have definitely started picking up on just her incredible poke.
Yep. And Jaina ban from FSU. Let's see if we see that Tyrande ban. It's quite possible.
Yeah.
Whenever you see Diablo, it's always a possibility.
They just
And
synergize so well together. But I mean, in the regional game we were just watching, Murden and Tyrande were synergizing fantastically well too. So she just goes with tanks.
yeah,
Tanks and
absolutely.
stuns.
Absolutely. And now hovering a Thrall ban, and they're going to ban Thrall. Again, a good choice because he is a fairly hardy frontliner, can synergize very well with Diablo as well. Obviously, it's not the same as a Diablo Tyrande comp.
Sure, but it's still good. FSU hovering Sylvanas. Interestingly enough,
It's
uh,
it's a
she can be
pretty
good. She can be really good on this map because if you're able to take out towers and such early, you're what am I trying to say? Brain fart. If you can take out the towers and stuff early, you can make sure that those cannons, when you turn them in, are directed to those more higher priority targets.
Yeah, and she's also great in the bottom lane as a solo bottom lane. She shreds the chest as well, so if she gets a little window, she can get down there and shred that chest, get all the coins. And FSU going to take Falstad, so they don't have a ton of burst damage on this team. Falstad may be the best burst damage that they have, and they're going to have to pick a support next. Texas Tech probably looking to pick up some burst if they can. There's not a lot left on the table. Kael'thas is an option, but we've sort of seen him fall out of favor.
I still and I don't know. I would still argue with that. I still think Kael'thas can be very good.
Oh,
hovering
wow.
and picking Murky, very
Murky-
exciting.
Murky
This
draft
could,
hype.
This could shake things up quite a bit.
So I guess we're going to see Murky in the bottom lane. That would be my guess. Now they're looking, and honestly, I think you'd want to get some burst here if you can for Texas Tech. Murky can do some burst damage, but it needs a little bit of setup. He'll get some of that from Lunara's Crippling Spores and also from Muradin. And they're actually going to hover Arthas here.
Ooh.
I love the Lich King. So
I do love the Lich King.
I'd love to see this go through. The root synergizes pretty well with Murky. He also slows people around him and offers some damage. I do. Oh, and actually it looks... Well, they're just cycling through things, CBK. They're just trying to throw us for a loop.
Johanna Muradin.
That's not a combination you see too often. Like, it is a low damage option. And at this point, Texas Tech really relying hard on Lunara and Murky to get the damage done. Obviously, Rhaegar does some okay damage. Lightning Shield, a good contribution in team fights. But, and yeah, this is, I wish I would have said it out loud. I was suspecting maybe a Morales based on having Falstad and Raynor.
That's honestly, that's what I was expecting as well. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense with this team composition. Texas Tech, I don't know. It's interesting. They've got, the thing is, though, it's all about that Lunara. If that Lunara dies, you lose basically your entire damage potential. Do you think? I don't even know. It's like a keep the Lunara alive comp.
Here's what terrifies me if I'm Lieutenant Morales on FSU. Octograb, very scary, honestly.
Yes.
Like, you needed the Lunara to follow up, and Muradin maybe, or Johanna to follow up as well, but you could easily be isolated here, so you're going to have to be careful. Watch for Murky flanks from off lane, but I'm interested to see how this composition comes out.
Yeah, no, I am very much interested to see how this goes. Oh, and update. My buddy Smash is telling me Panda Global just took tempo in Game 2.
Yeah, they did.
Very cool.
Yep.
Good for them. My current my prediction at the beginning of the series was tempo taking it 2-1. So.
Okay. Well,
that's.
You're on track to maybe have that prediction come true.
Yeah, maybe. The game is almost done. Players are readying up. Man, so what do you think? You think we'll see Murky bot, solo bot?
Yeah, it's very possible. I worry a little bit about that because it's possible for Sylvanas to eliminate Murky and then move in on the chest.
Yeah.
Even though it's a short respawn, like, Sylvanas doesn't need a lot of time to get the chest down.
No, she doesn't. And if you think about it too, Texas Tech could be in a little bit of trouble because both Raynor and Falstad have giant killers, especially if Falstad decides to go the auto attack build.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, you look at Texas and you say they have such a beefy front line, and they also have Murky, who's kind of a waste of time to attack in some circumstances, like if he has his bubble up. But between Raynor and Falstad, there's going to be a lot of percentage damage going on the front line. Like, I imagine we'll probably see an auto attack build from Falstad if they're comfortable playing that style, given how beefy that front line is. So, oh wow, and portrait synergy from FSU.
Woo! Yeah, that level 1 portrait synergy.
The Footman portrait is a classic. I like it. just showing off that they don't have any portraits, or maybe it's just that they don't care. Hard to say.
Yeah, I don't know. Did also like to point out that Team Blaze's Arlington team is actually playing their Heroes of the Dorm matches there.
Really?
Yes.
I was wondering if they had made arrangements to do that.
They just posted the screenshot. That's absolutely fantastic.
Nice. I was wondering about that actually. All right, so we're just about to get into game here, and really interested to see what Texas Tech does with their lanes. Like I said, Murky on the bottom is kind of what you'd expect, but against a Sylvanas, it'd be interesting to see if that's what they choose to do.
Yep. So on the FSU side, we have Shambulance on Falstad, dumbing on Lieutenant Morales, Feraligator on Diablo, little Pokemon shout out for the 20th anniversary there.
Nice.
Dumphawk on Sylvanas, and Phelps on Raynor.
And then for Texas Tech, we have Scorn on Johanna, GM288 on Muradin, Scars on Lunara. Murky is apparently played by War Chief, so I'm going to assume that Murky is the War Chief.
I'm good with that.
And Vinnick playing Rhaegar.
All right, so it looks like we're going to have fairly standard lanes. Falstad actually flying up to grab that vision early. 3-man rotation in the middle, and it is going to be Murky on the bottom against Sylvanas.
Yep, and just taking the vision here, FSU seeing if there's going to be a commitment. Oh, the Wisp going to scout it out.
Hey,
going to melee that down.
Of all the uses of the Wisp, that is probably one of the best ones.
It's way better than face checking the bush, I give you that.
Yes. Might as well face check it with something that doesn't matter.
Exactly. And we do have that Murky versus Sylvanas spot lane, like we said.
Looks like FSU's going to be doing a 4-man rotation top mid.
Yep, and that makes a lot of sense given the Diablo that they have as well as the burst damage. And we do have the chest spawning TBK.
Yeah. And FSU looking to have a very dominant control over it in the beginning. Sylvanas, though, on the bottom, probably going to take all these from Murky.
Yeah, it's a really hard fight for Murky, honestly, at this stage in the game. He actually almost dies again, so... really interesting choice to have him in the bottom, but I don't know if they really had another choice given their draft.
No, I mean, the only other one I could see putting on the bottom, man, Raynor taking a lot of damage. Murky does die again. I could maybe see Johanna being put bottom, especially with Knight Takes Pawn.
Yeah,
she might be able to keep that Sylvanas in check.
Yeah, that's actually a good option. We actually had Muradin rotate down and cover that lane, try and set something up for Murky. Didn't really happen, though.
Yeah. Murky's just going to... Unless he gets help, Murky, I think, is just going to get bullied constantly by that Sylvanas.
And in the top, it's actually Rhaegar versus Falstad. Rhaegar taking a ton of damage from Falstad. Not really a good matchup there.
No. I mean, range versus not ranged, normally the range is going to win.
And Falstad's just a great lane bully and duelist, so...
Yep.
So we actually have Sylvanas turning in her coins in the mid. It's scouted out by the Wisp, but looks like she's going to be okay. Actually, Murky wraps around.
Johanna wrapping around on Dumphawk, but he does get a nice Banshee right out of town.
Yeah, it's actually a lot harder. That's one of the downsides of Condemn sometimes is it's harder to time the exact moment that you want the stun to go off. And in that case, it wasn't possible to stun out the teleport to the wave because of that. So
yeah,
nice play from Dumphawk to get away.
I was going to say taking the next train to Nopesville, but I couldn't think about that in time.
Well, you've got that one in your pocket for next
I do.
time. And the Wisp just... Good play here by Lunara. You have the Wisp down.
Lots of damage actually going out on the mid right now. It's really cool. If you haven't noticed, you can see, I believe, the resistance marker pop up on Raynor when he gets that next to his name tag now. I think that was something in the last patch.
In the middle, FSU, we actually have Diablo pile driving Johanna, but she just walks away from that. She's not too impressed by that.
The thing is, Flebs just doesn't have to worry that much. He can be super aggressive because of that Morales.
And we now have Falstad turning in his coins. This is going to be cannons for FSU.
Yep. And they actually did a great job. They took out one of those towers in the middle lane already, so Usually, if you don't have the towers taken down, the fort won't quite go down with one blast. But with the towers down, I believe the fort will go down. And Muradin just taking so much damage there. It has to dwarf toss out, but it is not successful.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried by that situation there for Texas Tech. Hopefully not a precursor to other engagements, as one of their tanks just didn't get a lot accomplished. And even as he was trying to run away, the two range DPS focused him down.
Yep, and there goes that fort in the middle with giving a nice experience lead to FSU. Huge rotation in at the top, nice body blocking out on that Rhaegar by Diablo, and they do manage to kill him and a tower.
Yeah, and at this point, Texas Tech maybe they seem a little bit aimless. Like
they don't know exactly what to do.
They're seeing if
going
maybe,
ahead and taking the mercs at least.
It looked like maybe they were wondering if a turn-in might happen from FSU, but they don't even have enough to turn in at this point. They only have 6 coins of 12. In the middle, Johanna getting engaged on Diablo, just waiting, gets around, body blocks come out. He still has E available, and he's just waiting to do so. And, oh wow, Rhaegar.
Rhaegar actually saving Johanna, bringing in the E just wasn't used quite early enough, and now FSU is just going to back out.
And we do have chests that have spawned. Sylvanas already about to finish off this bottom one, and Muradin comes in. But she's going to get away. Nice juke by the Sylvanas. And FSU gets they get all 10 of those coins.
And, yeah, FSU is definitely just dominating the map presence right now. They're everywhere they need to be. Falstad stealing the coins on that side. Another murky death. Sylvanas is just going to easily take care of these giants. She's easily the best person to take care of mercs. It's so hard to push against her.
Yep.
Looks like we are getting a turn in, though. Oh, no.
Rhaegar dying again in the top. He's had such a rough time in this lane. As soon as everybody else rotates in, it's like he can't get away. There's too much damage. There's too much presence from... And again, Murky dies.
And that's ults for FSU now. Looks like we've got Gus, Stim Drone, Apocalypse, Wailing Arrow, and Hyperion. Nothing too out of the ordinary.
Yep, and we do have that basic attack build from Falstad. Meanwhile, FSU in the middle, turning in coins, and this is going to be enough to get cannons once more.
Yeah, and this is just opening up what is already a good lead even wider. Texas Tech only level 9, and FSU already almost level 11, and they're going to get another fort out of this.
Yeah, these cannons are going to extend their lead a lot more. In the middle, we have an attempt at engage from Texas Tech. I'm a little bit surprised by that, as they don't have heroics. They didn't really get anything accomplished in any case.
They're going to have to be really, really careful in what they do. Looks like they will lose the last tower. The fort will still stand, but Murky and Murky's egg's actually just kind of hidden up here.
Yep. I actually like that egg placement.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of movement in that area.
You don't go around down there a lot. But again, Sylvanas now pushing with giants. They're going to need to do some sort of a rotation on the bottom, or Sylvanas will be able to take this fort.
Yeah, and Texas Tech still not 10. They're about to hit it, though. Sylvanas pressing her advantage. I like this move, and there's really no rotation from Texas Tech as they're doing their bruiser camp.
Yeah, they are. Another murky death. He's going to have to come back around. FSU is turning in again, and Sylvanas just leaving those mercs to push.
Yeah, the good call from Sylvanas to come back. She didn't know where the enemy team was. We know they were doing bruisers, but she did not know that.
No,
she actually sniffs out the egg here.
Oh, and there it goes. Murky's going to have to be careful for the next 10 or 15 seconds until he can put that egg back down. And they've got another turn in, but Muradin, just in time, is able to stop it. But I don't know if they're going to be able to hold this off.
Well, they are even talenters. They can try for an engage. Muradin jumps in and immediately decides against that.
Yeah. It's kind of scary using that dwarf toss as an engage. There goes Murky again. Because once you use that, you have no way to exit. You're pretty much committed. So he jumped in. He was just like, this is probably not the right time. I better get out of here before things get too hairy.
Yep. And in the top, the bruiser camp helping to push out the lane a little bit. They're checking boss actually. Texas Tech, but no real need, no threat there.
No. And now FSU has opened up a 2-level lead, and they are now a talent tier ahead. On the Texas Tech side, we got Blessed Shield, Avatar, Thornwood Vine, Octograb, Ancestral Healing. Nothing too surprising there, Josh.
And they're actually, Texas Tech doing boss here in the top. I like this move, actually. They saw where the enemy team was because they were pushing, FSU's pushing up bottom lane. Texas Tech immediately backs after getting the boss. They want to defend that keep. They don't want to trade the boss for the keep at this point. It's way too early in the game.
The boss should be able to get a fort, but man, FSU, now knowing that they were all up there, is pushing hard. Hyperion comes out, Murky is completely blown up, and they are pushing with 2 Mercants.
Yeah, and the Hyperion getting a ton of mileage. Murden just trying to deter the enemy team. It's not happening, though. Phelps just unloading on Rhaegar, and for Alligators trying to get a pick that isn't Murden, instead he throws the Apocalypse out.
Oh, beautiful Apocalypse. Murden solo has to get the Ancestral from Rhaegar. And these tanks doing very well at staying alive, but Scorn is going to fall.
Phelps gets a stim drone and just begins unloading the giant killer doing unreal damage. And that was great pressure from FSU. They're going to be able to get a murky quarter kill here.
Yeah. And as predicted, Josh, double giant killers, both from Falstad and from Raynor.
Yeah, it does not surprise me at all to see that. They're going to get a ton of value from that. Shambulance taking the top here. Dueling with Murky. Probably wants to clear him out first, but he's actually going to die anyways. He just points up off his corpse.
Yep. And that's the problem with Murky on this map. It's really, really, really hard to have coins on Murky because he does die so often.
And now Texas Tech down 2 talents. They actually rotate in the middle just to try and stop the turn-in, but this is a dangerous situation. They don't want to commit too fully to this. They do hit 13 now, and so they're only 1 talent here behind, but still very dangerous.
And this is kind of the situation I was explaining during the draft a little bit. FSU is now so far ahead. All they really need to do, like Sylvanas just collecting these coins, they're going to camp collecting coins. All they have to do is just keep turning in, and they will just win. They don't even need to get into the engagements and the team fights. They can just control the map.
And that's what they're doing. They're just clearing out camps, picking up the doubloon camp and the siege camp, and Sylvanas cleaning up the doubloon camp on their side. So this is looking really good for them. They're in a very commanding position. They have 20 coins, and they actually turn in the last 6 that they need to get their, or the last 7 that they need to get their cannons.
Texas Tech trying to put a little bit of pressure in the middle, but FSU rotating around, and this could be really bad. Gus goes out, but doesn't actually hit anybody. Diablo goes in, but a nice disengage actually from Texas Tech. Everyone's backing up. Blessed Shield goes down just to continue the disengage, and the stim drone was out. They did manage to get Johanna out of it, but the stim drone was actually mostly wasted. Nice job by Diablo. Grabs Lunar, pulls her back. Apocalypse goes out, doesn't actually hit anybody. And everyone else on Texas Tech is just running for their lives.
For Texas Tech here, like, they were trying to get that tower, get some XP, try and get caught up a little bit. They were so far forward, and honestly, the disengage that they did get was quite good, given the circumstances. But like you said, the stim drone got a lot of mileage.
No, Murden jumping in, popping Avatar, realizing this was a horrible idea, guys. I probably shouldn't have done this. And he does manage to fall with Murky. And those 2 coins from that camp will give them enough for another turn.
Yeah, they have exactly what they need for cannons if they want to try and rotate in and do that. That's an option. They may just press their advantage top here as Murden is still dead, so they have an advantage both in talents and in players alive.
I mean, really, all they need to do is take this keep down and then do a turn in to win.
Yeah, they're very, very close to being able to do that. Murky trying to deter them, not really working. Johanna, wow, taking so much damage. She's just going to try and run away.
It'll be interesting to see if they just rotate back around to do the save hot. Yeah, and so they're just going to pull back. They're going to turn in right now and then just rush core.
And honestly, Murky's egg placement here almost a little bit detrimental, as it's far forward enough that he dies and wasn't able to really assist in the defense of that keep. So
yeah, and that's just the thing. When you open up this big of a level gap on this map, something actually goes in, finds the egg, and kills it. So poor Murky. Not that they really need to worry too much. They're just waiting now. Murden coming in. He's going to get caught out. So much damage going out onto him. Apocalypse goes out. Nice unstoppable by Johanna to keep that from mattering, but it's just a little bit too late, Josh.
Yeah, and Shambulance and Phelps took a ton of damage, but in the end it didn't matter. Johanna also falls here.
Yep. Those
And in the
cannons
middle,
just wrecking right now, and that's going to be the game.
yeah, Rhaegar and Sylvanas actually went deep on, or Rhaegar and Murky actually went deep on Sylvanas to get the kill. But yeah, as you said, the game was over after the turn in. So
Yeah, and that was very, very smart by FSU. They didn't want to. They didn't want to be super cocky and go straight for core after they took the keep down. They wanted to play it safe, so they just backed up. They did their turn in, and then that was their easy victory.
I think a certain amount of that is just respect for your opponent too. Like you might just be able to push in and win, but you also might not make that happen. And if that happens, you're probably going to feel pretty silly afterwards. So FSU just taking the safe route, as you said, making sure to play it straight and come home with the V in
Yep.
game one.
Yeah, and that just worked out so well for them. Props to them. Just some really great rotations that whole game. They did a really nice 4-man rotation middle bot. Like I said, I still feel like Johanna would have been a better laner against Sylvanas. The Murky just was it just was worthless, really. Like the Murky had zero presence in that game.
Yeah, I mean, even like the because of Sylvanas' fast attack speed, like even the puffer fish was shredded pretty quickly. Didn't really get a lot of mileage on lane, and it's a tough matchup for Murky. Honestly, it's not easy.
It really is.
His team was really asking a lot from him to be solo against that Sylvanas. So, and I guess in the end, we talked about it during the draft TBK about how Texas Tech would turn that composition into damage in team fights, and we didn't really see that. We saw one tank usually enter the fray first. The giant killer after 13 was very, very threatening to the tanks. And Lunara, it felt like Lunara a lot of the time was just zoned out of the fight. Like she didn't want to get so close to the tanks that she became a target.
Yeah, no, and that was the problem. And I think just another big thing in general, FSU or not FSU, Texas Tech just didn't have the damage. Unfortunately, they just didn't have the damage they needed to get that finished off.
I very much agree. I feel like the Murky tried to flank, tried to make things happen in that way. It didn't really work out. The Sylvanas, they tried a couple times to get the Sylvanas, and it looked like it might work, but most of the time she just barely slipped away. So I don't know. I feel like the draft was a big part of the success of FSU and the lack thereof from Texas Tech.
Yeah, and I mean, it was really good on them too because they were able to pick double giant killer, and that just absolutely shredded that double tank comp of Texas Tech.
We've noted in the past games that we've cast for FSU, they tend to prioritize Raynor quite a bit. And one of the benefits of that is when you pick him up early, that he usually goes into giant killer, not always, but he usually tends to do so. And it does deter a second tank, or even sometimes a more aggressive warrior like Sonya or a melee assassin. So I like that FSU, their draft isn't necessarily what I would call like a strong representation of the meta, but it's what's working for them. So they're going with it. And now it's on Texas Tech to prove that they have the answer to that.
Yeah. And the draft has actually already started. They are getting going. They are ready. FSU just bam. Rhaegar, no. Texas Tech, Li Ming, no. No one wants to see these two heroes still.
Yeah, I'm interested by the Rhaegar ban. Like FSU had first pick, so Rhaegar could have fallen to them if they had banned something else, and Texas Tech did not ban. But like you said, they were hovering Li Ming, and Texas Tech is going to take that out of the pool. FSU immediately goes Zagara.
Yeah, and that's not surprising at all. Again, this is Sky Temple now. This is an absolutely massive map, so vision is so key when just so you're able to make those perfect rotations, and it's a great pickup. Plus Ma, I mean,
yeah. Oh wow, this is almost like a mirror draft as Texas Tech picks up Diablo and Rayner, which were the first two picks for FSU last game.
Interesting. It's just
I
like,
almost wonder if
hey,
we're
this worked
mislabeled.
against us, guys.
Yeah, I don't know. And then wow, Thrall Johanna quickly from
And they
FSU.
know exactly what they want. And again, they just stole both the really really good solo laners as well. Not to mention
Oh yeah.
two very possibly game-changing ults. And not only that, if for some reason, I know most Diablos usually go Apocalypse, but if for some reason Diablo goes Lightning Breath, Maw is basically the only ult in the game that can actually cancel that.
Yeah, like fully cancel it.
Yeah.
You're right. You can always void prison it, but it will just like the duration will still come
Mhm.
out after the prison ends. So, interesting. I'm almost wondering if the teams aren't mislabeled because of how like this is like a
Yeah,
almost a mirror draft like Diablo Rayner from Texas Tech.
I know.
Wow.
And Texas Tech hovering their second ban right now. It's going to be Kael'thas, not Jaina.
Interesting. They might choose to pick Jaina here. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. I actually really like the combination of Diablo and Jaina for a number of reasons.
Oh, completely.
Now FSU thinking about it, and oh yeah, they're like no, we don't
Nope.
want you to have that, so
Nope.
they ban it.
Big old nope.
Nice. Now,
Uh, Texas Tech, I don't know exactly what they're going for. I could definitely see a Morales. Again,
yep.
it's a mirror, though, almost so far.
I wonder if they don't pick the support right now, then a Morales is definitely a possibility. I would say like they might want to just choose to if they are planning on Morales go last, and now they're hovering an Illidan, which excites me to no end. I was
Yeah.
not prepared.
Well, it, and it's not there yet, Josh. It's not there yet, but we can dream, we can hope, we can believe.
And we can also be disappointed as they change.
The dream can die, and they're really dipping into their time pool right now to
Yeah, I'm
figure this
really
out. So
okay.
they grab Uther, which is interesting. They don't yet really have a super good target for that divine shield. I'm interested to see what they end up going, especially with Thrall already taken off the table.
Well, let's assume that Illidan is potentially still on the table. If you pick him now, you're going to be in a situation where, okay, well, if they pick Tyrael, I'm going to say it's probably not still on the table. But if you pick him now, there's definitely the opportunity for FSU to react. So, and they do go Tyrael. So this is an interesting composition for sure. We've seen a little bit of Diablo and Tyrael in combination in the past.
Yeah,
Sanctification, Lightning Breath, always an option. I've seen
yeah,
that.
and that would protect from the Maw
It
as
would.
well. It is interesting that we could possibly see Sanctification and Divine Shield on the same team.
Yeah, I mean, I remember in the old days that used to be a combination that people attempted to get a Brightwing support from FSU and Falstad. So much global presence on the
Yeah,
side of FSU.
which makes a lot of sense, right? This is basically the biggest, one of the biggest, if not the biggest map in the game. So having that global presence and letting your two heroes now be in lanes up until the very moment that the team fight starts to soak still could give a huge experience advantage.
And now Texas Tech. Wow, they do go with the Illidan.
Ah, okay. Okay. I can definitely dig it. Like this is a very solid team from Texas Tech, but it's going to require so much from the Illidan player.
Yeah, I'm a bit worried, honestly, from the perspective of Texas Tech. Like Tyrael does good damage. Diablo does pretty okay damage. Pretty okay
Pretty
damage. They're
okay, yeah.
trademarked. Illidan can do some really great damage, but picking Illidan into a Brightwing also, and
It's tough.
Thrall, and like the Hunter Killer will be available. Like I, I wonder what Texas Tech is really planning to do. I wonder if we might not see some weird heroics here.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, you do have a lot of eggs you can throw into the Illidan basket, though, right? You've got Sanctification, you've got Divine Shield, both of which can be very good as backup. You could technically go Apocalypse as well. That's a lot of disruption and possible stuns, but yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I would almost with the Sanctification possibility. Uh, Divine Storm on Uther would be kind of fun, but I would think more if something was switched around, we would see Divine Shield from Uther and maybe Judgment from Tyrael.
I don't want to make any crazy predictions here.
But you should.
So, in the spirit of making crazy predictions,
Sure, sure.
you have Judgment from Tyrael.
Yep.
Since there is so much sustain between Uther and Tyrael's W as well as Sanctification, could we see the hunt?
You know, there are a few decent hunt targets.
Brightwing, in this case, obviously a good Illidan counter, but you give up a lot by taking Cleanse.
Yeah.
So, do
You
you just stack Judgment and the hunt and just go and potentially Apocalypse and just try and blow up one target?
I don't know. It's completely possible. There's definitely a few hunt.
I would love to
Hunt-enabled
see the
people.
hunt.
But
I
the,
would
the
love to see
problem with the hunt, though, unless you go straight onto Brightwing, is that whoever gets targeted by hunt, Brightwing can be there with a shield in like 2 seconds.
Yeah, it would have to be Brightwing or Zagara, really, because Falstad also could create separation with Gust or just barrel roll
Yep.
away, depending on
Yep.
the situation.
So, just as an FYI, while we are getting loaded up, for those who are watching us, thank you so much for taking time out of regionals to watch us. But it does look like Tempo Storm beat Panda Global 2-1. So I was
Okay.
correct.
You were in there. Nice.
That's
I
correct.
like it. I like what I've seen from Tempo in the past, so
Yeah, new Tempo has been doing pretty good, but I think just from a NA scene overall, the skill level has been raised by all teams. So I think we're going to start seeing a lot closer games, which is fantastic in my opinion. Okay, so over on the FSU side, we're going to have Shambulance on Falstad again, Flebs on Thrall, Dumming on Brightwing, Farrigator on Johanna, and Dumphawk on Zagara.
And for Texas Tech, we have Scorn on Diablo, GM288 on Illidan, War Chief on Tyrael, Vinnick playing Uther, and Scars on Raynor. So very I can't wait till level 10 TBK. I wish part of me wishes we could fast forward to level 10.
This could be like crazy ultimate party or super disappointment.
There's definitely the possibility for heavy disappointment, but it's always the case whenever you see a composition like this.
Yep.
It just gets my hopes up, right? You know, when you have this much frontline potential. Oh.
So Texas Tech is just kind of hanging out. They're wanting a party bush in the middle, but we do have a 3-person rotation from FSU, and so they're not going to be caught out easily. Zagara already started on the bottom and Falstad on the top. Texas Tech is going to have to rotate here pretty soon, unless they're gonna lose XP.
Yeah, they're just gonna say, you know what, we're done with this party bush. We're out. Diablo's actually gonna take bottom lane against Zagara, so that's
interesting.
Yeah, they didn't actually lose much XP. It looks like they only lost 1 minion bottom, so nothing too horrible.
Yeah.
If you force clear the wave like that, that's sort of what happens. So
Dumphawk already doing a really good job of getting that creep spread. I mean, look how much creep there is already. He knew they were coming. He was able to get right onto that creep for that extra movement speed and not worried at all.
Yeah.
And wow, Illidan taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, and he actually gets hit by the Condemn, but he's going to be okay. The Thrall root comes out, but no attempt to really follow up on that.
2-man at the bottom, Dumpfog actually taking quite a bit of damage, but it'll be interesting to see. It looks like he may stay in lane for Soak as FSU just tries to take 1 shrine.
Yep, and it's probably a good decision. It's going to allow him to continue the creep spread, keep pushing in. At this point, Texas Tech considering maybe engaging mid, but they're trying to see if someone's far out, and they don't find anyone. Scars thought maybe he could get a little piece of Falstad, but he doesn't. Meanwhile, Texas Tech just taking the top temple uncontested.
Yeah, and Texas Tech actually right now doing a better job at creep soak, or minion soak than FSU is. They've actually got someone in all 3 lanes because that top shrine is not being contested at all.
Yeah, in a sense, they sort of created the appearance that maybe they would contest mid when they were all just sort of moving around there, and then they just decided to move out immediately.
Yeah. And level XP just neck and neck for both teams. Zagara is actually against Diablo. I'm definitely feeling the Zagara in this matchup.
Yeah, Scorn on Diablo does have the option of clearing creep pretty easily with Fire Stomp, which is pretty good.
Which is good. Yeah, that's going to be pretty key for them keeping this creep under control, because if you just let Zagara run rampant with the creep, then you can't go anywhere without the other team knowing about it.
And Brightwing is just actually manually walking down to the bottom lane to clear it out. Meanwhile, we have FSU clearing their bruiser camp. They want to get a little bit of pressure, but Texas Tech thinking the exact same thing with Illidan clearing out their bruiser.
Yeah, and this is the way to do it. You take this top bruiser camp, you wait for that bottom to temple to spawn, and you cap it right before the temple spawns so that you get that top lane push presence while all the action's going on bottom.
Yep, and Diablo actually going to soak the top lane here with Uther. Illidan's almost done with this bruiser camp, and in the bottom lane, the Siege Giants were actually already capped, so they're already pushing up. Likely they're going to get cleaned up before the temple spawns.
Yeah.
Tyrael just trying to hold the lane
Illidan
and push in.
actually went ahead and grabbed their camp. So Zagara will have a little bit of a chance to put some damage out onto those bruisers and maybe even kill them a little bit before the temple spawns. And Falstad's going to come up to help.
And meanwhile, FSU now clearing out the bottom siege, and their bruiser is still uncapped. They have killed the minions there, but they have not captured it. So they do have the option to just quickly go back, cap it, and either Brightwing or Falstad could fly into the temple fight at that time.
Yeah, and that's probably exactly what they're going to do. And FSU is going to have a big advantage here. They're going to finish clearing this up. Then they're going to go cap that, and probably Falstad at this point going to fly bottom.
Yep, and these Siege Giants are actually now pushed in, doing damage to the towers. But between Tyrael and Raynor, they can get that cleaned up, and the temple is now active and firing.
Yeah. Texas Tech still with 3 men in the top lane, so Zagara has actually just stayed up top along with Falstad as this bruiser camp is captured. Texas Tech going to rotate down, but man, we've already got half the shrine shots gone.
Yeah, it's unfortunately for Texas Tech that now at this point it's going to be a little difficult to contest a shrine. They are leaving only a skeleton crew on the temple though, so it's possible for a move to be made if they realize that that's the case. We have FSU capping the vision, and yeah, it looks like Texas Tech wants to go for it.
Yeah, they're going in pretty hard on Thrall. They're moving around to the temple right now, just Illidan down there, but Farragator says, no, I am Johanna, and I have already finished this temple up.
And though it was a 3v3, they didn't, like you said, they didn't manage to really engage before the temple was exhausted. So at this point, Texas Tech looking to get back on lane. Illidan coming mid here applies a little bit of pressure to Falstad, but he's going to be pretty safe.
Yeah. Falstad always got that barrel roll to get out of bad situations. Johanna rotates around in the middle, Thrall coming in, and they're putting so much damage out onto that Illidan.
Oh, he just barely...
And
meanwhile, Uther, he's going to fall under his own fort, unfortunately. Illidan just almost got killed by the lightning, but he just barely escapes.
Yeah, Brightwing comes around to help Johanna out, but of course Johanna doesn't need it because she's Johanna.
Yep, Diablo doing a good job of clearing creep here in the top lane as he soaks. He now has Fire Devil, so he's able to quickly, hit his W, walk through all the creep.
So, FSU did hit level 10. Texas Tech is not quite as far behind as they were, only about a half level. We are seeing Maw, Blessed Shield, Blink Heal, Sundering, and Mighty Gust, so all expected. And FSU is going hard under this fort right now.
Yeah, but Texas Tech has to be really careful. Like, the Sundering is available, so Illidan could get blown up real quick if they're too careless, and they just basically stay near their fort. And now they're rotating down to do a siege camp here.
All right, the moment of truth, the ultimates come out, and it is Judgment Tyrael and the hunt from Illidan. Yes,
I
Divine
called it.
Shield, Apocalypse, and Hyperion.
I can't believe it's real.
I'm so excited.
This is so real. I can't believe it. All right, so Hunt and Judgment. They actually sniff out the fact that Illidan is doing this camp. They don't move to really stop it. Tyrael sees everybody. Illidan in a lot of trouble, taking a ton of damage from Hunter Killer. He's just trying to run away, and he should be out okay.
Yeah, but FSU's gonna go ahead and steal this siege camp.
Yeah, it actually did get capped. They just managed to clean it up. But in any case, good to just kill it before it does anything. And we do have Temple spawning in the mid and bot.
2 shrines. Texas Tech was on it a little bit. A lot of action still going around. Tyrael really, really low, actually. Still kind of trying to stay in the action. Judgment goes out onto Thrall. Apocalypse goes down, stuns him. So much damage, and Thrall goes down. But Tyrael does as well.
Johanna
comes out. Wow.
Yeah, Johanna just trying to disengage. Actually uses Blessed Shield to stun Illidan, and now Shambulance really in a lot of trouble. The Q comes out from Diablo. He blinks over the wall. Illidan just going full hit, goes over the wall. And wow, he's actually going to get out for the moment, it looks like. Yeah, wow.
So that was crazy.
So we saw the heroics used appropriately by Texas Tech. The Hunt, Judgment, Apocalypse. It worked really well. And wow, they're actually going to contest the middle here now. It looks like FSU. Oh wow, Illidan immediately blown up. And at this point, Texas Tech very low. They're going to probably need to back away from this.
Tyrael is back, but so is Thrall. And Maw going out does manage to grab Raynor. I don't know if there's going to be too much of a follow-up. Donkhawk is there. Scar's taking so much damage. Nice heal by Illidan to keep him alive. And Texas Tech in full retreat right now.
Okay.
Warchief, I don't know exactly where he was planning on going. He kept going downward instead of turning toward his base. Not sure about the running direction there, Josh.
Yeah, I'm not sure what exactly happened there, but so I think what we're seeing from Texas Tech, and they actually sniff out that their bruiser camp is being taken here, so they're trying to deter them. I don't think they're going to be successful.
No, they're down pretty much 2 levels and a talent tier right now. The best they can really do is poke them. Tyrael just coming back up right now, and yeah, they're going to have to give this bruiser camp up.
This team is very now dependent on the heroics that they've chosen. So there's a ton of potential, but they need to have them up, and they need to coordinate them. They do now have all their heroics up. But like you said, they're down a talent here, so at this point they're playing the waiting game.
The really scary thing is, when you get this far behind with an Illidan, your Illidan becomes so much less effective.
Yeah, and that's doubly true when you have like so much burst damage potential on the side of FSU. Like we have 2 giant killers as well. So, I mean, obviously Illidan doesn't have a ton of health, but he is going to be in the front line, so he's going to be taking that extra damage. And
just a shout out to Zagara. Look at the creep spread. I mean, Diablo's trying to do it, trying to clear some of it, but man, Zagara really just doing a fantastic job with the creep spread, knowing exactly where Texas Tech is going to be at all times.
Yeah, and that's going to be really crucial. Like right here, you see FSU, they're sniffing out the siege camp, and oh wow, Phelps immediately engaged on Warchief, way out of position, taking tons of damage. Eldruin's out.
Yep, Hyperion actually comes out, Maw goes onto 2 people. Super damage onto Tyrael. He goes down, Apocalypse is out. Lots of damage onto FSU, but still no one's dead.
Yeah, the Judgment used a little bit prematurely. Illidan goes back in, gets blown up by Thrall and Johanna. Now Diablo just trying to get out of the situation. The siege camp actually aggro, throwing rocks at him. And yeah, Diablo's going to go down here. Ooh, that was an unfortunate engagement from Texas Tech. The Judgment went out a little bit early, in my opinion. He sort of used it to start the fight before his team was in position. They still got great mileage from the Apocalypse, as you said, but they couldn't secure a kill.
And now, because of that, their siege camp is taken, FSU's bruisers are taken, and now they're going to take the boss, and the temple is up, and there's really nothing Texas Tech can do about it.
Yeah, they will have Diablo available in a few seconds. A boss contest is pretty much out of the question, and it would be really dangerous to just let the boss push at this point. So they'll probably just be forced to deal with the boss while Zagara caps this temple.
Yeah, and I mean that's really the best you can do in this situation. FSU now two levels ahead, but a talent tier ahead again as they get their 16 talent.
Yep, and like we said, Texas Tech looks like they're just going to try and kill this boss. They're not going to move in to contest the temple and let the boss do damage.
And I mean, this is the smart call by them. They're down a talent tier, they're down 2 levels, and a team wipe at this point with a boss pushing could be devastating.
And even right as it is, they're going to be hard pressed to save this keep. It's going to be very low, and it actually does go down. Judgment actually goes down on Falstad.
Hyperion goes down. Falstad taking a lot of damage. Nice job by Brightwing to come in and save him. Nice ice block as well. But the Tyrael Judgment does manage to blow her up. Zagara's Maw goes down onto 3 people. So much burst damage, and everyone is blowing up.
Illidan just trying to get out of this fight. Oh, gets a protective shield from Uther that may save his life, but Uther sacrifices himself to the cause as a Hydralisk shoots him in the back.
And it looks like Falstad and Brightwing missing, but they're going to start hitting the core.
And we actually got the GG called from Texas Tech. It looks like they should be able to hold this. Illidan looking to see.
I think they will. Oh
Yeah.
no, but he does get blown up super fast. And I think this core is going to go down, Josh.
Yeah, at this point, there's just too many men down on the side of Texas Tech.
Oh, he's dancing.
He's dancing. Actually,
They're gonna have to pull back out. They're a little too low. Brightwing comes in just to help heals off, but it's not quite over yet.
yeah, and there is a keep down, but there's two others alive on the side of Texas Tech, which will absorb some damage if a temple comes back up. So it's definitely hard to make a comeback from this point, but it's not impossible.
No, it's not. They're about to be on the same talent tier, still about 2 levels behind, but they're going to have to make something happen before FSU hits 20.
I like this pickup from Diablo. They actually took imposing presence, given the amount of auto attacks on the side of
And
FSU.
giant killers.
Yeah, and giant killers. Benediction from Uther, that's pretty obvious. The Illidan build is very much standard. So, and Holy Ground from Tyrael. So that's potentially something to watch for. FSU doing this siege camp and just watching out to see where Texas Tech might be at this time.
Yeah, two temples spawning right now. Texas Tech really needs to get at least one of them to stay in this.
I like this move from FSU. They're like, you know what? If you guys are going to stand on the temple, we're going to end the game.
Yep,
So-
we're gonna tempo storm it right now.
Tempo storm it, nice.
Yeah, they're
And
going
yeah,
in. This shield is not going to last long. Texas Tech is coming back. Apocalypse goes out, hits several members. Maw goes out, but doesn't actually hit anybody. And Divine Shield had to go down onto Tyrael, and they're actually killing some people, but the core is just too low.
Yeah, it was a good try from Texas Tech to hold on. I'd like to thank them profusely for playing Judgment and the Hunt together.
Oh yes.
It was so much fun to watch, and
Oh my gosh.
there's
Seriously
nothing
the
you can
best.
really do short of a cleanse, right? Like, I mean, once you get
No.
hit by one of those, but in the end, there was sort of a problem following up on that combination. I would say it went off successfully a few times, but there's no real cleanup.
No, and that was really the problem, and you can tell that in the amount of kills, the 14-4 kills. Illidan was never able to clean anybody up. Like he never could get that isolation that he really wanted to with that Judgment.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it was a really fun combination to watch. I wonder if either switching out the Diablo or the Tyrael for something else might have been better, or even
Yeah.
maybe trying Kale instead of Raynor. With those bombs could get a lot of mileage with everybody stunned by Apocalypse.
Yeah,
But-
and again, if Texas Tech had been able to pull out the ultimate synergy that they were, I think, wanting, then this could have been a different game. But they were never quite, except for that one team fight, they were never able to pull it off again.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it worked sort of. In my opinion, it worked more than once, but like it never really turned the fight like it did that one.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
they
probably
managed
a
to-
better way of saying it. I mean, with the amount of ults, I don't know. I almost feel I like you said, we loved the Hunt choice, but I feel
We
like
loved it.
Metamorphosis probably would have been a better pick in this case.
GM288, you picked the, and I liked it. I thought you should know.
Yep, it was good. I'm really glad. I want to see what that Diablo. So Diablo actually went with the health regeneration at level 1.
Yeah, I'm not against that, given the rest of the composition, the amount of damage coming out.
Yeah, and I like the Fire Devil pick as well because that's really, really good for taking out creep tumors.
And honestly, at 4, I don't feel like there are a ton of compelling options for Diablo.
No.
It's obviously it's really great against creep, but I mean, I see Diablo take it even just to get a little bit of extra damage,
Yeah,
because the other options at 4 are pretty substandard.
and honestly, he did really well at clearing that creep out and trying to keep it under control. But I mean, Zagara just had creep everywhere, and that's exactly what a Zagara should do.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's that. I mean, see at level 7, endless creep. Endless creep works incredibly on Sky Temple, especially.
Hmm. I I feel like, and this is maybe just sort of what I saw of the team fights, but I feel like the Divine Shield wasn't really there for Illidan or Tyrael.
No,
When
I don't think I don't remember seeing it on Illidan that much. I feel like he was forced to use it on other people first to
yeah,
save them, and so that took that tool away from being able to use it with Illidan.
it felt like a lot of the time it was used in the back end of a team fight, like while they were trying to like pull away from the fight.
Yeah,
I don't know. But I mean, I really loved the composition. Maybe it didn't work out exactly, but it was very fun to watch
it
and to
was.
commentate. So,
It was.
and it has potential, I
It
think.
does. Yeah,
So,
it most assuredly does. So I would not be opposed to seeing it again in the future
mm,
at all. Hi, cat.
hello.
Just like a cat to jump up on your lap
Oh,
when you're
he,
doing stuff.
he wants to be part of the action for
That's
sure.
right. Well, guys, thanks so much for watching our Heroes of the Dorm cast. Congratulations to FSU on their 2-0. They will be moving on, which is fantastic. Uh, I Sham wanted me to give a shout out to Brent Thompson, their coach.
Yeah,
So he's obviously doing something right.
I mean, a lot of these heroes of the dorm teams, they're getting a lot of guidance from other members of the competitive scene. Like we know that a lot of competitive players are still eligible to compete
Hmm.
in dorm,
Yeah,
but
and we're definitely seeing that on a few Heroes of the Dorm teams.
I really believe like with heroes of the dorm, sometimes you have people, especially last year, I would say, who hadn't played the game a lot, and they're coming into the situation. They might have like fundamentals of the MOBA genre in their toolkit, but they're not 100% familiar with
Yeah.
the game. And that extra bit of guidance can help a lot. I've
Oh,
heard the same
yeah,
story
for
over and
sure.
over again from teams who played in Dorm, where they said, I played League of Legends or Dota 2 or something, and then I wanted to play Heroes of the Storm, and thankfully I had this person on my team or this
Hmm.
friend or this coach who could help me out and sort of show me the ropes of this game as opposed to those games.
Yeah.
So it's definitely really important to have that support in this tournament.
Oh, very much so. And hopefully, here in the future, we'll get a cast at least one or two more of these Heroes of the Dorm games.
Yeah,
It's been a blast so far. I've
I would
very
I
much
would
enjoyed it.
I would love to cast more dorm games. Really, some great teams still in this tournament. And I think that'd be a great opportunity. So
Yep. Well, guys, I am TBK. You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord. And of course, I am part of the Lords of the Storm, Heroes of the Storm podcast. You can find the links below in my channel, as well as my YouTube and highlights of all the other games me and Josh have casted as we do Chair League as well. Josh, where can these fine folks find you?
you can check me out on Twitter at Throne Gauntlet. I'm a writer for the Score Esports, so if you go to thescoreesports.com/HOTS, you can check out all the competitive Heroes of the Storm writing that we're doing, or just download our app, which is also called the Score Esports, and you can set up notifications for your favorite teams, or you can find out every time we post an article about competitive Heroes of the Storm.
Awesome. Well, dude, that was a fun little break, but I